Hey everyone, Backyard Farmer Pat here. Today is a very exciting day. Guys, there is so much going on in my garden. I tell you, I've been planting a ton. It's the end of spring, beginning of summer now, and the garden is just popping. So guys, I don't think I ever gave you a full detailed tour of my veggie garden. I know I've given you the tour of the outside garden of what I'm planting many times. In today's video, I'm gonna give you a detailed tour of what I'm planting in my veggie garden. You guys remember last month I lost like all my beautiful mustard greens, but guys, don't worry about it because I have so much more growing in the garden now. So I am super excited. Not to mention, there are so many volunteers popping up in the garden that are, some of them are like real surprises to me. Things that I didn't plant that are now growing, and it's gonna give me even more food. So after we look at the veggie garden in detail, I'm gonna show you my chickens. My girls are doing so well. They're now 8 weeks old. They're doing really well. Some of them are real characters, but I need you guys to help me name them. So after we check out the chickens, we check out the veggie garden, I'm gonna show you what's actually bearing fruit in my garden. We're not gonna do a detailed tour of the actual trees. We're gonna focus on what's actually giving us fruit, because you guys already know the stuff I'm growing. So let's get started. All right, so let's check out my Scotch bonnet. So remember back in February, this was a Scotch bonnet that I actually overwintered. And back in February, I went through and I pruned every branch because I think there was only one Scotch bonnet at the time. And as you can see now, it is completely loaded with blossoms on the top, and at the bottom, it has a whole bunch of really large Scotch bonnets. Look at that, guys. So this one is really a wonderful tree. Um, as for those of you who do know Scotch bonnet, it's an extremely spicy but extremely fragrant pepper, and it's a base of most Jamaican dishes. So most savory Jamaican dishes use Scotch bonnet, and that's what gives it that wonderful flavor. So it's really doing very well. Right beside it, I have zucchini, and you can see I'm getting my first zucchini flowers there. See right there? You can know the difference between a female and a male flower. With the female flower, you can see the actual fruit behind it, and there you can see the actual zucchini. And with the male flower, here's another zucchini plant. That's what the zucchini flower looks like. It's an absolutely beautiful flower. But with the male flower, if you look behind it, it's just a straight stem. You don't see the fruit, so that's a male flower. So when that female flower opens up, what I'll do is I'll pull this male flower off, and that centerpiece that has the pollen, I'm gonna rub that into the centerpiece of the female flower, and that's how you pollinate the zucchini. You can do that with a lot of like squash, zucchini, a lot pumpkins. You can do that with a lot of fruit in that family. So right beside it, right between the two zucchinis, I have here my red Thai chili pepper, and this is a really delicious pepper that I use whenever I'm making any Asian dishes or even just stir fries. I often use this. This is a nice pepper to use in stir fries when I don't want the heat of the Scotch bonnet or the flavor of the Scotch bonnet. I just want to do a mild stir fry. It's kind of pretty spicy, but not as spicy as Scotch bonnet. Then right beside it, I have Okinawa. Is this Okinawa spinach? I can't remember what this one is called. I put the name on here, but this is a kind of spinach that grows all year round. This one isn't doing very well, but I know it will come back. What I'll do is I'll probably transplant this. And I had planted this first, then the squash is kind of taking it over, so I probably transplant this somewhere else. And as soon as I went like this, I see that some powdery mildew is on my squash, so I'll absolutely come back and treat this and probably remove just the leaves that are affected. With squash, you really only need to have the leaves that are above the fruit. So for the leaves that are touching the ground, I'm probably gonna trim those back. Then as we move over here, I have several Scotch bonnets thanks to my friend Diane, my subscriber that's here in Palm Bay. She gave me a couple little Scotch Bonnet suckers when I visited, and as you can see, they're doing very well. That's one, two, and the third one is, let me see. I know there's a third one in here somewhere. It's probably covered up and probably needs to be transplanted. My string beans, they're still hanging in there. Here's another squash, and I've been harvesting purple string beans from these little plants. They stay pretty small, but they consistently are pushing out new beans. This is purple string beans. Here I have what I believe I planted two jalapeno peppers. Yes, this is a jalapeno pepper, and here is another jalapeno that already started producing fruit. So my jalapenos are doing very well. We have some green string beans, and on this side, oh nope, nothing on this side, just some little zinnias. So let's go around on the other side, see what I have on the other side of the bed. So over here, my basil has taken off. Oh my gosh, guys, look at this basil. It is so absolutely beautiful, so absolutely perfect. In the past, I've tried to grow basil multiple times, but I always get leaf spot. But the key is keeping the soil under the basil mulched, and to be sure to never water the leaves. Water only below the leaves. Water at the ground line. Same thing for tomatoes. I have trimmed up all the lower branches of my tomatoes, and I'm always sure never to wet the leaves, only to wet the soil. And my tomatoes are absolutely loaded. They are doing so well. I have multiple varieties of tomatoes, and all of them are doing extremely well. It's growing, still growing rapidly, and doing extremely well. Started off slow, but this one is a super sweet 100, and it's giving me a ton of tomatoes. I'm constantly harvesting, and they're constantly coming back. Back here I have a Cherokee purple. It's the only one that bore, and it has this big spot on there. I'm gonna still let it ripe to see if maybe I can, because I'd love to taste what this tastes like. I've never had that before, so I'm gonna leave that one on there. Right beside this I have my chamomile. I haven't harvested any. It's best to harvest chamomile when as soon as the flowers open. That's when it's most potent. I haven't harvested it, but I think it's an absolute beautiful addition to my garden. Then, guys, this is my absolute favorite. This is the sun sugar tomato, and I'm telling you, these tomatoes taste like sugar, and they look like the sun. They are beautiful. They are a beautiful addition to the garden, and they are very prolific. Look at this. It's like every branch is covered with tomatoes, loaded with tomatoes, and it's growing and growing and growing. So I have all my tomatoes trellising on this support that I made when I planted them, and it's doing really well. Right below it, I have some strawberries they've been blooming consistently, but I only get like a few strawberries at a time. Then beside it, I have another basil, which is also huge, doing well. Then here I have my brandywine tomato. So I planted some brandywine seeds, if you guys remember, back in February, and the seedlings were really struggling. They really weren't doing well. This really just started taking off. The leaves are very unusual. The leaves look very different from normal tomato leaves, but it's finally blossoming. So I am looking forward to trying the brandywine tomatoes. Then on this side, here is my little volunteer patch. So this was the very last bed that I built, but I was kind of resting different pieces of yam, different things over here. So obviously I must have rested some sweet potatoes, because these are all volunteer sweet potatoes that popped up. And right in the middle of the sweet potatoes, I have a couple volunteer tomatoes. So I have no idea what kind these are, but it's free food, so I'm really looking forward to that. And these vines are really doing well. Right beside this is an nasturtium. So another, I may have planted this one. This is a nasturtium and I planted it from seed. But guys, look what is right here. I am so excited, guys. So these two popped out of the ground. It's either white yam or yellow yam. I have no idea what I rested here several months ago before I even moved in. I know I'd rested different things. Like if I get a cotton, if I taste something that I like, I would just rest it in that area over here. So now we have, I believe it could be white yams. So now we have white yams. I'm letting it trellis here. What I'm gonna have to do is have a stronger support because these yam leaves are gonna get really big, and we have two different yams growing. So I'm really excited about my yams. And then guys, look here. I believe this is either a hosta or I'm hoping it's food, so it's probably a turmeric because I had turmeric growing in my previous garden, and I did try and bring a lot of cuttings and a lot of roots from my previous garden. So it looks like right in here tucked in is a turmeric. I'm gonna leave it there, but that is super exciting. Back on this row, we have a whole lot of bok choy that are still in growing, even though we're moving into the summer now. We have a whole bunch of bok choy growing along here. I see some okras. That little one right there, that's an okra. We have another okra back here, and those are the short, fat okra. I don't know what they're called. They're short, fat okra. But my mom sent me some seeds, and she told me that they were absolutely delicious, so I'm really looking forward to it. Then here in the middle, these are from seed. These are black cherry tomatoes. And I planted the seeds back in February. I hadn't gotten any fruit yet, but now I have a whole bunch of black cherry tomatoes coming out. I haven't tasted it yet, so I'm really looking forward to tasting my black cherries. So these two right here, and the two back there are all black cherry tomatoes. Here I have my black beauty, eggplant that is doing very well. It's looking absolutely beautiful. And then here I believe this one may be the blue butterfly. I'm not sure this one could be the blue butterfly. It's something that I planted this is one of the first things I planted, but for some reason it just wasn't growing, and then now it just started pushing out leaves, so we'll see what that is. Here it's a Scotch bonnet I also planted several months ago, and it never grew, but it's still green, so I'm hoping that once it gets into the summer and warms up some more, that it will grow. Here we have marigolds that I planted from seed, another eggplant, and this is a cucumber. And here we have the other black cherries. So now we move into my herb garden, and you guys remember this is a garden bed. This is one of the two beds that I had my giant mustards in. My mustard greens had grown as tall as 7 feet with the flowers. It was incredible. So let's look at what I have now, and this gives you a perfect example as to why it's good to plant several crops in the same bed, or plant over a period of time, because you don't want, when you pull your plants out of the bed is just empty. So I had all this growing under my mustard. So here I have my beautiful delicious rosemary that I use all the time. It's just so wonderful. Here I have a marigold. This is something new that I discovered, but I absolutely love. It's lemon balm. It's absolutely fragrant. It's delicious. You can use it in teas. It's medicinal. There you can see my dill has gone to seed. It's flowering. It's been flowering for several months. I love the dill that it just continues to flower for that long period of time. Right beside it I have my sage, and I have my curly leaf parsley. Here I have my culantro. So culantro is similar to cilantro, except that it's more heat tolerant, and it's a very strong flavor. So it's culantro with a U instead of the I like cilantro, but it's very fragrant. It's the same exact flavor as cilantro, except it may be even a little bit stronger. Along the middle, I planted a few Clemson spineless okra. So that's one right there. That was one right there, but something ate it. There's another one and another one. So we have three Clemson spineless spinach going along the middle. I want no Clemson spineless okra going along the middle. What I want is the Clemson spineless to grow up and give it a little bit of, give these other herbs a bit of shade. And that's another way you can create your own little microclimate, because pretty soon it's already hot and pretty soon it's going to be even hotter. And I want to make sure I protect my herbs, even though a lot of these are pretty hardy. You notice I put the rosemary in front because the rosemary can handle the heat, but a lot of these other herbs I want to make sure that they're protected. So I'm doing my Clemson spineless okra along the middle. I also have several patches of thyme. You can see right there. I have thyme right here, right beside my sage. I have a lot of oregano. We use a lot of oregano and thyme in this family. So I actually had bought one oregano back in December when I initially moved here, or initially created this bed, and I broke it up into several pieces. So that's one of the pieces now. That's how big it got. That's another one, and here's another one. And of course, can't be a proper Jamaican without the thyme. So I have more thyme here, and here's my flat leaf parsley, and here is another patch of thyme. Thyme can get a little sensitive sometimes here when it gets very hot. So I'm really looking forward to getting the shade from the okras so that it can protect the thyme and these other herbs. Then in this bed, right behind it, this is my only mustard green that I have left in these beds. This is my red mustard, and I've been, as you can see, I've been eating off it. I've been harvesting it, using it. It's the only one that did not have the powdery mildew. The powdery mildew took out all my other mustards. Here we have a beautiful marigold that I planted from seed. These are some more tomatoes, various tomatoes that I planted. Here we have our purple basil. That's right here. It's absolutely lovely. And let's go around this side. I have here my peppermint. So this is a peppermint plant. Here I have my lemon balm, some more lemon balm, which is so similar, looks so similar. The leaves look almost identical to my spearmint that I have. So I know lemon balm is on this side. I have my spearmint. I have my chocolate mint here, and some more peppermint. And in the middle, this is so absolutely fragrant. In the middle, I have my lavender. Looks very similar to rosemary, but this is lavender. So I'm really hoping these mints are like taking it over. But the whole idea is that I wanted the lavender to grow up and flower, then to have the mints below it. So it's absolutely beautiful. Love it. Then over here, I have more zucchini. And as you can see, I have my first little zucchini peeping out there. So hopefully the animals won't get it. And this is my only slicer tomato that I planted. This is a celebrity hybrid. I got one so far. It was pretty good. And I have 5 more on the tree. That's a determinate tomato. So it's gonna grow to, it's not gonna run like the other ones. I really love indeterminate tomatoes that run and bear all year. And on the other side of the tomatoes, I have a couple volunteer. No, these aren't actual volunteers. I'd eaten a really, really sweet piece of pumpkin a couple months back, and I'd put through a couple seeds here. I think the seeds are coming up. These are the seedlings. Looks a little bit diseased. I probably won't leave it here. I'll move it on. Yeah, so 3 seedlings came up from the pumpkins that I threw here. Pumpkin seeds. And right on the other side of my tomato, I have an aloe plant, an aloe vera plant. I got this for $2. I actually have aloe vera growing in my island also, but this was only $2 on the death rack, so I figured, hey, I can't beat aloe. It's a very awesome medicinal. You can also use it. It's great for the skin. Like if you have any burns, you can just break a piece and put it on there. So I absolutely love it. Plus, it's awesome in the hair, for our hair to make it softer, and also I put it in my shake, so it's a great plant. beside it is a very powerful medicinal. It's called verbena or verbane. It's actually has some very powerful health benefits for the neurological system, as well as other health benefits. It's great for digestion. It's a very powerful plant that my friend Lorraine gave me. So I'm really looking forward to this growing and giving us some medicinal. Then right beside it, these are a couple of volunteers that my friend gave me, volunteer tomatoes, and these are pear. They're like a pear, yellow pear shaped. She thought they were Everglades, but they're not. These are like pear shaped and they're yellow when they fully ripen. In the middle here, this is a comfrey. So I planted a comfrey and it's massive. It's very medicinal. And tucked in right beside it, I have a butterfly plant. One of our butterflies absolutely love that plant. It's called milkweed. We have a couple more cuttings here. Show you what else I have growing by my veggie beds. I have some Cuban oregano growing here in this little pot, along with some salad greens and more Cuban oregano over here. Then over by my patio, I created this little bed and I planted several pieces of ginger along the middle, and you can see the ginger is growing up very nicely. The ginger is coming up. These are some sugar snap peas that didn't do very well. I mean, got a couple of little snap peas on there, couple little peas, but I just basically put them there to just fix the nitrogen in the soil. So I have my ginger along the middle, and then along the front row I planted several turmeric bulbs. They haven't come up yet. Well, actually one came up, so that's one turmeric that came up so far. And along the back, I haven't decided what I'm gonna put in along the back. I actually sprinkled some callaloo seeds, but they weren't getting enough water here, and those died back. They probably will. Some of them will probably spring back. I may put some more callaloo in there, or I might plant something else. Behind it is a very powerful medicinal. This is actually a weed. It's like Spanish needle, and I think it's called binance also. It's a very powerful medicinal plant. Grows like a weed here. I'm not sure how to use it yet, so I haven't actually used it, but I'm just gonna let it stay. In this garden, I've seen them grow as tall as 6 feet tall, but I'm just gonna leave that one patch. Then over here, I have a few beets and radishes and some wildflowers on the top, and then along the sides I have a ton of garlic chives, and these are actually garlic chives from my prior home, so these are perennial. They were absolutely neglected, never watered, and they still are doing very well. Right below it, guys, look, I keep telling you about the callaloo. It's such a wonderful thing to plant. Those are a couple of volunteer callaloo that grew up, that popped up here, and I'm gonna let them stay right here and grow. And because this area does get some water. I don't water it a lot over here. This tends to be the area that I neglect. Right beside it, this is some elderberry cuttings that I gotten from Kia, from Homestead in the Burbs, and I cut the cuttings up, and you can see now I have multiple elderberries coming up. Here we have some blue verbena, and over here I have some strawberries and some bell peppers that I planted from seed. Again, here I have more bell peppers that I planted from seed. So I think that's the end of the veggies. So let's go and see, let's go check out the girls. Hey girls! Hey girls, say hi everyone. You guys have to help me name these chicks. Come on, say hi. Hey, chick. They love bok choy. They go crazy when I give them bok choy. Hey, chick. All right. You guys say cheese. Say cheese. Be nice to each other. So these are my girls. So far, I only named the red one. I named it Curry because it's been very mean. It's been very mean to the black one. So I told it if it doesn't behave, it's gonna be curry chicken. So far that's the only one I named. But you guys help me come up with some cute names for my chicks. They are absolutely wonderful. They are so much fun. I love to sit here in the evening and just watch them. They are so funny. And as you can see, bok choy is their absolute favorite food. Bok choy is their absolute favorite food. No fighting. Stick it in there. Okay, girls. See you guys later. Enjoy your bok choy. Be nice. Share. All right. So let me show you what's bearing. Oh, before I show you what's bearing, guys, I need some expert advice. So over here, this is my star fruit tree. All the leaves fell off. All the leaves came back, but my leaves are in a down. All my leaves are like downward. They're not growing and they're all turned downward. I tried to Google to see if I could find out what's wrong with it. The leaves are green. You know, it's bringing out new growth, but the leaves are just downward. So I don't know. This is my first time growing star fruit, so I'm not sure if this is a thing, if this is how it is. So you guys let me know, please, if you can give me an advice as to if this is normal or not. Giving it water, I fertilize when it needs to be fertilized, but let me know what you guys think. All right, let's go check out what else is growing. Oh, before we do that, I have some more veggies growing on this side. So over here, I have my cantaloupes growing, and I have my butternut squash. These are all from seed that I'm starting. Not sure the butternut squash and cantaloupe will actually bear fruit now, but I'm gonna go ahead and put those in the ground soon. Then right in front of it, I have some Joseph Coat amaranth growing. These were actually from a cut-in, and then I just found out that this is actually edible. So I'm really looking forward to trying that for the first time. Over here, I have some Seminole pumpkin. This is from Creative Girl Homestead. I am very excited for this to grow, for me to try that. And back here behind the chicken coop, I planted some more Seminole pumpkin in the corner, and that was from Loy. Then back here we just have some cuttings, red coat and yellow coat, plum cuttings, and some other cuttings that I took that I need to get started. Back here behind the coop, because I was trying to give them shade, I planted several sunflowers because I wanted the mammoth sunflower to grow up and give them shade. However, something constantly eats them out. So right now I only have 2 sunflowers left. Every one of the seedlings are gone. They keep getting eaten as soon as they get to a certain height. Behind the coop, I have planted several different greens. I believe these might be mustard greens. Here are some more. No, these are bok choy. And I planted other mustards. So all these little seedlings coming up are bok choy. I transplanted some mustards from other parts of the garden because the chicks love mustard greens and they love bok choy. I mean, they're constantly eating the mustards on the other side. That's a Scotch Bonnet pepper. That's a bell pepper. Then we have some rosemary and marigold because chickens love all that. Well, not the Scotch Bonnets. The Scotch Bonnets are for me. Then here I have some nasturtiums because the chickens can also eat that. And then this tomato was like a little seedling that popped up that was like a couple inches tall, and you can see how big it is now. The chickens are actually really enjoy the leaves of the tomatoes. And then once the fruit bears, those will be their fruits. I'll make sure they get those. Here are some bok choys. They constantly eat the bok choys. You can see the leaves that touch the coop are completely eaten down. They're constantly eating those. And then their mustard green has gone to seed. It's absolutely beautiful. Adds a lot of beautiful color to their coop. Every single thing here is all from seed. All these marigolds, and this is another marigold that hasn't bloomed yet. The bok choy, which they have eaten clean. That's what I use to kind of give them treats. Then here we have more marigold, different color marigolds that I've been enjoying. Here are some wildflowers that I planted and some more seedlings. So I just have a variety of different foods and flowers around the coop. All are edible by the chickens, and they're all good for them. All right, so let me show you what's growing. Oh, before I show you what's growing, guys, this is my new pride and joy. This is my new prized possession. I am so excited that I'm now the proud owner of a pimento tree or allspice tree. So, for many of you who have been to the islands, been to Jamaica especially, and you've had jerk chicken, and you say, wow, jerk chicken in Jamaica tastes so different from jerk chicken anywhere else, that's because the secret is the wood. And they use pimento wood when they're making their jerk. A lot of places use pimento wood. Now I heard that it's being over harvested, so they have switched to something called sweet wood. But the original jerk chicken is made with pimento wood or allspice. So I'm really looking forward to planting this in the ground and for this to start growing so we can be enjoying jerk chicken homemade with our allspice for many, many years to come. All right, so let's see what we have that is growing now. What is bearing fruit? So my passion fruit has borne several flowers, and I've hand pollinated them. But every time I hand pollinate, I actually lose a flower. So there are two reasons that can happen. One reason can be because I'm over fertilizing it. Another reason can be lack of water. So I believe because this is tucked away into the back, that I may not have been watering it as much as I should. However, the leaves do look very healthy, very good, and it is continuing to push out the blossoms. I made a very bad mistake, and I'm letting you guys know so that you don't ever make the same mistake. So the option I think may have happened is that I may have over fertilized, and what I did was I threw some of the bedding for the chickens directly on the root, and that may have burnt it. I try to push the bedding away now. I thought that it wouldn't have been very strong since it's mainly bedding with some poop in it, but that may have caused all the blossoms to abort. So none of these have become fruit, they have aborted. This is one that I hand pollinated yesterday. This one I also hand pollinated, and this one. Those three I hand pollinated yesterday. I'm hoping that they'll hold the fruit since I've removed the mulch. But if not, there are several more coming. So I'm just praying that I will get some fruit. I've created this huge trellis to allow it to spread. It's very well aerated. It has very good airflow because if the airflow is bad, that can also cause them to abort. But I've made sure that I've spread the branches out so it has really great airflow. All right, so let's get to our fruit. Blackberry isn't fruiting yet, but it's spreading really well. Gonna get that one in the ground. And on my mango tree, so my mango tree has actually held fruit for the very first time. So as you guys can see, I am not playing with my carry mangoes. So I've bagged my mangoes to keep those pesky squirrels away. And they are doing extremely well. They are growing nicely. I have 6 mangoes and I'm protecting all 6 mangoes. I got these bags on Amazon. They are like a mesh bag, so the sunlight, the rain can still get in, but hopefully it will keep the squirrels out. And I need to come back and tie these properly because these squirrels are smart. Hopefully they won't pull the whole thing down. Hopefully they'll leave it alone. I've been getting some mulberries on and off. I just ate the last one yesterday. And I see a little tiny one here. The mulberry has been struggling with the leaf spot disease. So I sprayed it with copper. I'm not sure if it made much difference on here, but I'm hoping that it'll soon, overcome this. I'm gonna give it one more shot. My naseberries are laden with naseberry. These are the pre-blossoms of the naseberry. So all throughout, I have a ton of naseberries coming up. So I'm hoping for even a few naseberries. I know the tree is still very small. I don't know if they're gonna actually come to fruit this year, but this is super exciting, guys. Super exciting. Look at that. Every single branch, every branch is covered with those naseberry blossoms. So I'm looking forward to that. And what else do we have bearing now? My plum tree. Yes, my plum tree. And my sugar apple has some blossoms. None of them have come to fruit yet. So we're gonna skip the sugar apple. But guys, my plum tree, look. My plum tree is laden with plums. This is the first year I've gotten any plums. So I'm really looking forward to eating plums. So these are the hog plums or yellow coat plums. And I got 3 more sticks. So I'm gonna plant a red hog plum here, a red coat plum, another yellow coat plum, and then another red coat. So this is gonna be like a plum walk on this side. If you guys notice, like what I did was throughout the whole perimeter of the yard, I've laid cardboard. I've laid cardboard down and I've mulched over top. So all the way around, I've done that. And you can see another thing that's ready to bear, that is actually ready to harvest. I have callaloo that came up. So I just posted my video on separating callaloo from sweet potato slips. This is a callaloo patch now. As it goes into the rainy season, these are gonna really skyrocket and get even bigger. But right now they are all doing very well. These are the seedlings that I transplanted. Behind it I came back and I planted some more okra. These are okra from my previous garden. These are seeds from my previous garden, and my dog stepped on that one and broke it. So I'm gonna have okra growing up and up to give a little bit of shade over this side, and then I'm gonna have my sweet potatoes and my callaloo going along here. And as you can see here, all my sweet potatoes, these are all the transplants that I did. They all wilted. So whenever you guys do transplants, don't be upset or surprised if you see them all wilt and look like they're dying. They all look like they were dying like days after I transplanted it, but I came back and I watered every day, and you can see how beautiful. Look at this, guys. They're absolutely beautiful. They're doing extremely well. So these are all gonna give me a ton of potatoes. And what I'm gonna do, as soon as I am ready, I'm just gonna break some more of these and stick them in other parts of the garden so I can have potatoes everywhere. Here are some volunteer something in the melon family that popped up, and this is not bearing, but I just have to tell you guys how proud I am of this banana. So my friend Lorraine gave me like literally like a piece of a root of a banana, and she said it was one of her prized bananas. It was like one of the best bananas ever. She didn't know the name of it, but I planted a root, and the root looked like it wasn't gonna live, and I kept watering it. I mulched it. I threw chicken compost on it because I know bananas are heavy nitrogen feeders, so they can handle it. And thank God, lo and behold, look at this, guys. It took. So my banana is coming up. So I'm very, very excited. Then finally, I want to show you. You can see my nice mulch all the way along here. Guys, remember that compost video I did where I composted in place? So I wanted to show you guys what is coming out of the compost. So I have all these volunteer plants. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is yet until it actually blossoms and gives me fruit. But all my compost piles, I have a whole bunch of volunteers that I'm gonna take, and this is free food. I'm gonna take them and plant them in other beds. And here I have some moringas I transplanted. And here, my final veggies. These are my gungo peas or pigeon peas. I planted 4 along here, 4 little seedlings. Well, I actually planted from seed, and then I transplanted the seedlings here. And these are coming up very nicely. So what I want to do is have this is going to create like a beautiful backdrop of the gungo peas trees with the yellow flowers, and then I'm going to have the other layer of fruit trees in the front. And that's it, guys. Along this fence we removed all the soil, all the grass and weeds along the fence. We up to a certain point it was like this. We removed everything. I got this guy to come and help me, and we laid like about 10 bags of garden soil. I'm gonna come back and amend it with some chicken manure, and with some chicken manure and some worm castings, and I'm going to plant directly in that bed. Maybe some of those volunteer plants is what I'll plant. And then here is a massive, massive, massive bed that I built. It's like probably 30-40 feet. So guys, I'm going into hyper mode. I'm going into hyper mode for the month of May. I'm gonna put a ton of food in, guys. Things aren't getting easier out there. Things aren't getting any cheaper. And, you know, I want to make sure that we have what we need here, that we have a good source of healthy food for years to come. Anyway, guys, that's it for the video. I know it's a bit long today, but just wanted you guys to see what is going on in the garden, especially for what is bearing and all my fruits and veggies. So till next time, guys, let's go out and plant a seed today. Let's grow our own food, guys. Let's eat healthy, and don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to share what you're growing. Follow me on Instagram. I am now posting daily videos on what's going on in the garden, especially with my little chicks. So till next time, guys, bye now.